Thank you for welcoming me into your journey as you step into this exploration of yoga. And I am really excited to be a part of it. We're going to talk about one of the things that I believe is one of the biggest things that keeps us from exploring yoga. And that is all of these myths around yoga that makes it seem inaccessible to the everyday person. When in reality, yoga is accessible, available, and meant for anyone and everybody who wants it to be a part of their life. I'm going to share with you 5 yoga myths that have come up in my own journey, and then give you a chance later in the week to share some of your own. The first one that I think is becoming very popular would be Instagram. A lot of us have come across yoga pages, so whether it's an Instagram model, a yoga athlete, a yogi, however they identify themselves as, and a lot of them have really great content, but also that content often feels really inaccessible to someone just starting out in yoga, and even inaccessible to a lot of people who have been practicing yoga for years. The myth to debunk here is that what you see on Instagram or on social media or in the media in general when it comes to yoga, that is not what yoga is only about. It's not only about getting into some really advanced pose that looks cool in a picture. It's not about being the most flexible person on social media. It's not about wearing the cutest clothes in the yoga fashion world. That might be part of someone's practice, but that is not what yoga is or has to be for every person. Whatever you see on Instagram, if it doesn't make you feel like yoga is available to you, I would just ignore it. Don't follow them, don't look at them, and know that that is their own practice, but that does not have to be your practice. The next myth is this idea of having to love or have a power yoga be part of your practice. A lot of us have probably come across a studio or again on social media, something that uses the word power in it. We've seen again these really intense postures and movements that seem overwhelming. And from where you're at in your practice, just starting out, you may be taken aback by that and think, okay, I can't do that, or I don't want to do that. Myself, when I was first getting into my yoga teacher training, everyone seemed to love power yoga. Like every other teacher in the program loved power yoga. And I would just sit there and be like, I don't like power yoga. Like, it's not my jam. I don't love it. And I felt bad about that. And I felt like I wasn't worthy to be a yoga teacher because I didn't love power yoga. Probably until the end of my yoga teacher training, when I started to talk about my insecurities with not feeling like power yoga was my particular favorite, and a lot of them said it wasn't theirs either. And so I started to realize that yes, some people are going to love power yoga. They're going to love what that offers them, and it may be something that you fall in love with. It may be something that you continue to grow and come back to as you move further into yoga, and it may be something that never becomes a part of your practice. Either way, that's okay, but just know that just because someone else loves it, you don't have to love it. The other one that goes along with this is the idea that you have to have a physical practice or that it has to be a workout. For some of you, you might love that it's a physical practice that gives you a physical workout, and it might come back to practicing that power yoga. For some of you, you might find that your practice becomes more of a meditative practice, where you're actually not doing a lot of physical movement. Maybe you take on a meditation practice and that becomes your yoga practice. For me personally, I every once in a while love taking like a really strong power flow class that feels like a workout, but my day-to-day practice is that I love a restorative practice, a yin practice, and a meditation practice that's just much more grounding, and then I get my workout from something else. Just because yoga is promoted as being a physical workout for a lot of people, that doesn't mean that it has to be your physical workout or that you have to replace what you're already doing for a physical workout. my favorite myth of all time is that you have to be flexible to do yoga. You do not have to be flexible to do yoga. Yoga is a practice. The reason that we come to our mat is to practice, and then eventually that practice leads us to being more flexible. Some people who practice yoga every day still are not that flexible. You don't have to be flexible 10 years into your yoga practice. You probably will be a little bit more if you're practicing regularly, but that's not the expectation. If you are telling yourself, I'm not flexible enough to practice yoga, go ahead and just throw that out. The fifth one that I'm going to share is also one, it might seem a little bit silly, but it's one that I have heard people talk about. It's again one that comes back to being promoted in the media a lot, and it's one that I've kind of questioned myself. You do not have to be vegan. You don't have to be vegetarian or have any special diet to practice yoga. If you are vegan, if you are vegetarian, if you're a carnivore, omnivore, whatever you are, that's cool. Just keep doing you. It doesn't matter what you eat. That does not have to be a part of your yoga practice. It might become a part of your yoga practice, but you don't have to eat a certain way. I know a lot of really amazing yoga practitioners, those that have been my teachers, that love a good burrito and a margarita and a glass of wine. Whatever hangups you have about thinking that you have to eat a certain way to be practicing yoga, it's not true. Go ahead and just get rid of that idea, okay? These are 5 kind of yoga myths that I have worked through myself, that have come up in my own practice throughout the years. Really what it comes down to is yoga is about you. It's about your own practice and reconnecting with yourself on the mat. Take a look at what your yoga myths are. If I've touched on any of them, go ahead and cross them out. Remind yourself that that's not true. You don't have to believe that, and that's not what yoga is about. And then any of those other myths that you still have, go ahead and send them to me, and we'll talk about those when we meet in our live video conference this week.